Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Catherine and I make videos about dyeing, sewing, and upcycling. So if that sounds like something you're into, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Today I'm going to be making test swatches with a new dye kit. This is actually a tie-dye kit, but I'm going to be making ice dye swatches with it. This is the Pro Chemical Dye Reactive Dye Sampler. So it comes with 6 colors. A packet of soda ash, and a little bottle of Synthropol. I really like that it comes with the soda ash and the Synthropol. The soda ash helps to prep the fabric before and keep the color, and the Synthropol is a dyer's detergent that prevents the dye from going out of the fabric and onto the white parts of the fabric. The colors in this kit are red, leaf green, reddish purple, mixing blue, sun yellow, and cotton black. I will put the link in the description down below for this kit if you want to go and check it out. There are other colors available by this company, but I wanted to go for just like rainbow, really like simple colors to see how they turn out with the ice dyeing. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is prep my swatches. I've pre-washed these 100% cotton swatches and I'm going to soak them in some soda ash. The soda ash is what is going to prep the fibers to receive the dye. So I'm mixing up about a gallon of water and the packet of soda ash. I'm putting in my swatches to soak for 20 minutes to prep them. Then I'm going to take some mini takeout containers and I'm going to poke holes in the bottom of them. I'm using 9 containers with another container underneath them, so 18 total containers, and I'm just going to poke out these little holes with an X-Acto knife. That's so that the ice runoff and the dye can go into the container underneath. I'm just using a little rock here to make sure that they don't sit in the dye. Then I'm going to take out my pieces and scrunch them up and put them into the container with the holes on top. So I'm just making sure they're kind of like high scrunch, like not too rolled up in a ball. I want them to have a lot of surface area exposed so that when I put the dye on, it can kind of travel in and out of those little nooks and crannies that I've created. So here they are, they're all set up. 1 container with the holes on top, a rock underneath, and then another container underneath to catch all the runoff. This technique is called dyeing on the rack as opposed to in the muck. You can also not use the container with the holes and the rock and just let everything sit in the melted ice and dye, and that's called in the muck. Anyway, I'm going to be adding a couple of ice cubes to each container, probably about 5 or 6, and then I'm going to put the dye on top of the ice. So that's called dyeing over the ice as opposed to dyeing under the ice. I've found that doing it that way gives you a little bit more negative space. So I'm just going to put the powdered dye on top of the ice, and I am wearing a mask to make sure I don't inhale any of the powder, and I like to use a little plastic knife for application. Be sure to check out my other YouTube videos on ice dyeing. I'll put the links in the description below, and I'll also link those videos at the end of this video. I also have multiple dyeing classes available on my website, onyxartstudios.com, so I encourage you to go and check them out. You can also sign up for my email list to be alerted for when I publish new classes online and then when I'm doing new dates for my live online workshops. So I encourage you to go and sign up for my email list. Now I'm going to add yellow and red because there's no orange in this kit, and I want to see how these colors turn out when I mix them. And then I'm going to do purple and black. Often black is a color that splits. It splits because it's made from multiple colors, and so I'm really excited to see how this one turns out, and I think it'll look really nice with purple. And then I'm going to mix blue and green because I love teal, and who doesn't love teal? So there they are, they're all mixed up, and I'm going to leave them to melt completely. I'm going to leave them for about 24 hours before I open them up. I know it's really hard to be patient, but it just is part of the process, and the time is what makes the dye look so pretty on the fabric. So here they are after about 3 hours, and they're starting to melt, and I'm just checking on them to make sure that the liquid in the bottom isn't seeping up through the holes. At one point I did have to pour out some of that excess liquid just to make sure that it wasn't sitting in that liquid. For these swatches, I wanted the colors to have that negative space, so I didn't want them sitting in the dye runoff. Here they are after they've been sitting for over 24 hours, and they are ready to open, which is always so exciting. And I'm just opening them with this tray so that they don't touch each other. First step is this yellow, which is a really pretty lemony type of yellow. And then I have the pink, or the red, which is a very pink type of red, almost kind of like a magenta color, but it got some nice definition. Here is the yellow and the red, which is really nice. I think that the yellow is really successful mixed with another color especially. Here's the green, which turned out really nice. I got a lot of color variation on that one. And I'm just cleaning up to make sure it's nice and tidy. I don't want my pieces to get dye from the other ones on them. I want to make sure I keep them pretty separated. There is the blue and the green, which I love. I love those colors together. They're so nice. And here is just the blue, which is really nice. It looks very pretty with the lights and the darks. It's a pretty reddish navy type of blue color, not too much green, so it looks nice when I mix it with the green. Here's the reddish purple, which is really nice. Ice dyed. That is beautiful. Here's the black, and I'm excited to see the black. Like I said, the black's always split, often split. This one definitely split, and you can see there's like speckles on there. That happens when the powder dye hits the wet fabric directly, and you kind of get those like speckly effects. I think they look pretty cool, so I don't mind it when that happens. But if you're trying to avoid it, that's what causes it. And then here is the purple and the black combo, which really punches up that purple. Here's the regular purple, and there's the combo next to it. So I think that that is a really nice pairing too. So next what I'm going to do is rinse these with cold until the water runs clear, and then wash them on hot with the Synthropol and dry them on hot to set the dyes. Here they are after they've been washed and dried. So after testing this kit and doing these little color swatches, I would definitely recommend this kit for ice dyeing. And I really want to try it for tie-dyeing too. I'm definitely going to be using it for more projects in the future. If you want to try it for yourself, you can go to the link in the description below and check out the kit. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to go to my website to check out my online workshops and sign up for my email list so that you can always know what kind of workshops are coming up next. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time.